From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBacks PrimeTime Cap. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. And man, it is a beautiful day. That's all I can say. It's Friday. The rain was tearing us up out here in California, but you know what? Today is a good day. It's actually, sunny and sunny with the little touch of clouds in the sky. But we all right. And as you can see, I'm over here raping the Lakers, boy. You already know it's a big day for the Lakers as well, too. Chasing the Timberwolves, who are sitting in the 7th spot. Lakers are sitting in the 9 hole. So let's go ahead and jump into what happened last night. NIT. North Texas wins the NIT last night, all-conference USA title game over rival UAB 68-61. How big was this for their program? I would say this would be the biggest win in program history. Let's just keep it real. Big night last night for the very big night last night for the for North Texas, the Eagles. They played tremendous basketball last night. They were led by Mr. Kai Huntsberry. Guy scored 21 points last night. And then Tyler Perry went ahead and got 20 points last night as well, too. Tyler Perry, no relation to the other Tyler Perry. It's Tyler Perry, not Tyler. Tyler Perry with the O. So pretty much they had themselves a great game last night. Their big three went ahead and got 55 points of the 68 that they had. Then they got 13 from everybody else. So pretty much they just needed those three guys to help them get this win last night. They wound up actually shooting. They didn't shoot that great from the three-point line, but the difference is that they made most of their free throws, even though they got outshot on the free throw line by 20 free throws. It was funny. UAB made 24 out of 31 free throws last night. North Texas had 11 attempts. They went 10 for 11 last night. So there goes some great stats for you that even though they got a bunch of free throws in UAB last night, it still didn't help them win this game. And so pretty much it wound up being a game where North Texas did jump out to a nice 10-point lead in the first half, and then they went ahead and kind of cruised in the second half, wound up winning the game by 7. So that was a big, big moment for their school. They forced 11 turnovers last night as well, too. They also had 8 steals. They were just, everything worked. Everything was great last night. And this team is moving forward. They are moving on to the AAC as well, too. I think UAB is going to join them as well. I got to look back up on who's leaving for expansion. I know that FAU is going to be leaving soon as well, too. But the most incredible part about this team is that they're a part of a historic moment for the Conference USA. Conference USA had 2 teams from their conference, first time ever, to play in the NIT. And now they have FAU, a team that won, I think, probably the most games ever for a Conference USA team representing the conference in the Final Four this year. So it's just a very, very great moment for this team. I'm excited for North Texas because we did have the plus 130 last night as well, too, which was huge and wound up being a very, very good play. And I still really don't understand how a team that won 2 out of 3 of the matchups was the underdog last night. I just don't know. But you know what? When you hand me plus money and it's there, I'm going to take it. I don't care. So it is what it is at the end of the day. And there it is. Congratulations, North Texas. You are this year's NIT champion. Hopefully they bring the NIT back to the Garden because it did not have the same flair that it's had my whole life, because The NIT used to always be huge because it was a New York City championship game, getting to the Final Four, all that good stuff. This year, it did not have the same pizzazz to it because, come on, let's face it, they were doing it at the Orleans in Las Vegas. No offense to the Orleans. It's one of my favorite venues to watch a basketball game at, but you don't play the NIT at the Orleans Arena. You just don't. But I know that they couldn't get, but this, I guess they felt like it wasn't big enough for T-Mobile, even though the Garden is literally 10 times better and 10 times more historic than T-Mobile, but they'll figure it out. I think that they just pretty much could not get the Garden this year because you did have the Knicks. The Knicks have been playing at the Garden a lot lately. The Rangers probably have that booked up this week as well, too. It's just a lot going on in New York this week, and it just was poor timing for this situation. So it happens. That happens as well, too. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. And that was great, man. That was a great moment for them, and more to come. That's all I can say. There's more to come. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward from there. Let's jump into our Final Four preview. Final Four, we have ourselves the best 4 teams left in the nation. It doesn't matter who did this and who did that during the season. This is about the 4 now that we have. Florida Atlantic University, FAU, 33-3. They got the best record in the group. Then you have San Diego State, 29-6, best team in the state of California in the last 15 years. Finally getting their due, finally having their moment of truth. Then you have UCONN, a team about 6 years ago, you didn't know what UCONN was going to be. They were stuck in a conference that folks didn't consider a power conference. They were getting beat by teams that were 3,000 miles away from them. And it just didn't look like anything was going to get better for UConn moving forward. Then Dan Hurley came, and everything changed. Then you have Miami. Probably the easiest job to get and lose for a Division I coach. Yeah, you can do really well, and Miami will hire you. That used to be the whole adage. And then Miami's going to fire you, or you'll move on to a better place. But Coach Larinaga, they won the lottery with him. He was a coach that wound up being at George Mason for a very long time. And George Mason didn't have great success, but the year that they did have some real success, Larinaga became a national star. And Larinaga then became the coach of the Miami Hurricanes and literally changed the culture overnight. And it's shown up today that Miami might be the best kept secret that is in this Final Four. And it's just an incredible moment. This is the craziest Final Four ever. So let's go ahead and preview these games. Up first, we have the 9 seed FAU, 33-3, going against San Diego State, 29-6. San Diego State is a 2.5-point favorite going into the game tonight. Now you have FAU. Could FAU say that they had one of the toughest runs to the tournament? No, they probably didn't, because their 3 losses came to teams that were very well. One of them came to a team that just lost in the NIT championship last night, but they did lose to Mississippi. Mississippi was not good. They were a bottom barrel team in the SEC this year. And then Middle Tennessee State was what the start of their name is, middling this year. So you look at those losses and be like, well, they who did they really beat? The only team that they beat on their resume for real was Florida. But we can't keep using that excuse, because they got into this tournament and they went ahead and they beat Memphis. Memphis had them beat. They had them dead to rights, in my opinion. And they were able to get that final layup there under pressure, and they did it so easily. Then they moved on, and let's just keep it real. They had Fairleigh Dickinson. If they would have lost that game, they would have probably had to shut the school down. They went ahead and they handled their business. They absolutely cooked FDU. But this is when I found out I really liked FAU, is because at the end of the game, one of their best players tried to throw down a 360 and he missed. And they were so mad about it. Twitter, the media, and said, you just can't do that in a game. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Because when you're winning that game, you can do whatever you want. And if that's at the end of the game, what unwritten rule said that I can't celebrate the greatest win in our school's history? We're going to the Sweet 16. We weren't even supposed to be in this game. Shut up and move on. You sound dumb. And then they said now they're the most hated team in the nation. And I said that now I love these guys because you guys are going to figure out a way to hate on them just because they celebrated their greatest win ever. And I say this to anybody. If I was coaching that team, I'd have hot five that kid the moment he came over and said, you should have made that shit. Because literally, we just won the biggest game of our lives. And you know what? These guys weren't even supposed to be here. So who cares at the end of the day? So they moved on, and everybody had him losing to Tennessee. I didn't. I put that plus 5.5 down with the quickness. FAU went in there and ate them alive that day, in my opinion. They got down 8 points in the first half. They were down 25-17, wound up outscoring Tennessee 45-30 from there on out, beating them 62-55. That right there told me that this team is dangerous. And then they really went against all odds. And they really went against all odds. And they said that pretty much we don't care that Marquise Noel is from Harlem. We don't care that half the team is from Harlem. We don't care that they had an and one game against Michigan State. None of that matters to us. We don't care that we're in Madison Square Garden and that the whole Dipset came out, the whole Jada Kiss and the Locks came out to see this kid play. We do not care. We don't care if you guys think this is a game over at Gaucho's. We're gonna hurt your feelings today. And that's exactly what they did. Even though it was a really close game, a really good game, we all know that FAU really gritted and grinded that win. And pretty much they had probably the funnest ride to the tournament because nobody wanted them to win any games that they played in. Like literally because they felt like they were kind of in the way. And this team played like a team that's 33-3. And that was absolutely incredible. I've never seen a team really play 4 perfect games the way that FAU has played. You know what I mean? I know they didn't blow teams out, but they played perfect games. They didn't make a lot of mistakes in these games. San Diego State is almost a mirror image of FAU in this game. They literally had damn near the same route, but I would say that their route was a little easy though, because they ran into a very good Charleston team, but Charleston hadn't played anybody as physical as San Diego State all season. And they beat a 31-win team. That was pretty good. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it was Charleston. Who did Charleston really play? Charleston did play some good teams in the beginning of the season and a lot of in some of these preseason tournaments. That's why I was so high on Charleston actually getting to the Sweet 16. But San Diego State wasn't having any of that. And they went ahead and took care of their business. They got them up out of here quick. And then Furman became kind of the tournament darling after they got that buzzer beater against Virginia. But we kind of knew that it was a fluke. And if San Diego State figured out a way to get really, really aggressive and really get comfortable, they would probably blow them out. And that's exactly what they did, even though Furman was a great team too this year. And then they matched up with Alabama. Alabama was supposed to be this super team, number 1 overall team. You know, they got this guy who's supposed to be the top pick in the draft, Brandon Miller. They got a lot of controversy coming into the game because they had a guy on the team catch a case, a real case, and it was kind of a distraction because their best player was involved in that situation, but not involved in the situation. And so pretty much it became the story for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And I really don't think anybody wanted to see this team in the Final Four. So San Diego State did everybody the favor and got them out of here in the Sweet 16. Absolutely outplayed them from the start of the second half until the end of the game. They were down 7 points and didn't even care and wound up winning that game. And they've done something really good. They haven't allowed more than 57 points in any game in this tournament. And they haven't even allowed more than 57 points in like the last month. So their defense is out of control right now. They are just insane. And then playing Creighton down to the last minute, that game could have went either way. Let's just keep it real. That game could have went either way. Probably the best played game of the day for the Elite Eight for the weekend. And pretty much it came down to the final moments, and it came down to a final free throw. And you know what? They went ahead and edged out a pretty, what they would say, a lucky win. But it was an earned win as well, too. So San Diego State comes in here as a favorite, and they're feeling good about themselves as well, too. And you know what? If you look at San Diego State's schedule, they probably played the toughest schedule when it came to non-conference. They played in Maui, and they had to play against Arkansas when they were a top 10 team, fully loaded, and they had to play against Arizona when they were a top 10 team, fully loaded as well, too. And they lost both of those games, but they were in both of those games. And they got a great win over Ohio State and Texas Tech in the process. So they showed that they were a team that was a little bit better than just the Mountain West team. And they probably had the greatest year for a Mountain West team this year because they were a part of a group that got in 4. You know what I mean? And you usually don't get in 4 with the Mountain West. Mountain West be happy when they get in 2. So they got in 4 this year. So that just goes to show you that things are changing a little bit because they got in 4 because the Pac-12 was so bad. And the Pac-12, they had to literally do the Pac-12 a favor and put in USC, who they were going to put in regardless. USC had to beat UCLA, but they did Oregon a favor and put them in there as well, too. Oregon got absolutely crushed. So, you know, all in all, San Diego State is probably the best West representative this year, you know, because we thought it was going to be UCLA, but we had to have a team representing from Cali somewhere in the West Coast, and it wound up being San Diego State. And this is kind of long overdue for a team that has the players to get them to a Final Four year in and year out. But when it comes down to this game, it's going to be a close one. And I really, truly think that Cinderella ain't a part of this dance because neither one of these teams are Cinderellas. You know what I mean? They're more like, you know, the overlooked. And I think that this is going to wind up being the best game the tournament has to offer. And I can't wait. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the game that's going to be the most highly anticipated game, even though I feel like the tip-off game is going to be much better and it's going to be epic. I think it's going to take all the air out of the arena once we get done with that game. We got Miami coming in here, number 5, 27-7. And then we got UConn with the 27-8. And pretty much we have, and see, you get it. You know, you got to stop me. We got a Miami team that nobody picked to win anything. They wanted Miami out. Miami, they felt like Miami only got into the tournament because they won the regular season ACC championship. Come on, dude. They won the regular season ACC championship. They beat Duke. They beat North Carolina. They beat Virginia. They beat every top team in the conference this year. And they look good doing it as well, too. And pretty much Miami had been a good team all season. Miami just did not get respect. Miami at one point was the number 14 team in the nation. And nobody still respected them. So they had to go into the tournament and get their respect. They went in there. It wasn't supposed to be Drake. Remember, Drake was like the highest rated 12 seed out of all of them. Because Drake, you know, Drake was beating up on teams early in the year that are Power 6 teams that are good. So, you know, how does little Miami have a chance? And Miami was down 7 with about 5 minutes left to go in the game. No problem. Miami gets a 16-1 run on the way out. Easy money. Easy money, dog. Wound up winning by 9. They cover spread, everything. Then they go into the next round. Oh, they definitely not going to do anything with Indiana tonight. Everybody should have knew Indiana was a tired team, and they played in the Big 10 where everybody beat up on each other this year. Trace Jackson had no help there. I know that they had some great freshmen or whatever for Indiana. It didn't matter because Miami is playing pissed off. They went ahead and got them up out of here very easily. The wire-to-wire victory. Then they played against Houston. Houston was supposed to be the next greatest thing since the 1990 UNLV Rebels. Nope, not at all. That's not 5 slamma jamma. Sorry. So pretty much Miami went ahead and made sure that they showed them that they played really nobody this year. Yeah, you played against a really good Alabama team early in the season when they were the number 3 team in the nation. You played against Virginia when they were like the number 5 team in the nation, and you were 1-1 in those games. And pretty much you run into a team like Miami, who nobody's taking seriously. They go ahead and get themselves their biggest win of the season. And yes, I have Miami in that game, so that's why I'm a little cocky about Miami about this one. And then they go ahead and they get pretty much the biggest upset of last weekend when it came down to the Elite Eight, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I felt like if anybody was going to blow somebody away, it was going to be Texas. Texas wound up having a 13-point lead and then getting outscored 37-17 on the way out, losing the game 88-81. So that was incredible. Miami won that game and made no 3-pointers in the second half. Everybody needs 4 or 5 threes to win a game like that. But they didn't need any of that. They just needed to win the game. And that's exactly what they did. So pretty much that team is a team that you have to respect them. You can't look past Miami and say, oh, yeah, they're playing against UConn. UConn is just ultimate. They're just the best. Because I'm going to explain UConn to you because I love UConn just like the rest of y'all. I do. They're a great team. And I did pick them to win the national championship. I had 5 teams I selected who had the best opportunity at the national championship. UCLA, of course. Then Kansas because they were the defending national champion. Also, I had some love for Houston because they're the grown man team. And then I had UConn in the group and I had Texas in the group. As you guys can see, I only got 2 of those teams to the Elite Eight. Now we got UConn in right where we wanted to be. They messed me up really bad, right? Because 3 of those teams I just named were all in the West region. And I told myself, I said that the West region will probably have the national champion come out of this bracket because how tough the bracket is. Because that bracket was literally the toughest bracket in the whole tournament. And I think it's probably was the toughest bracket I've seen in the last 4 years as well, too. Because you had, when you looked 1 through 8 or 1 through 9 or 1 through 10, those were some really good teams. And even the teams that were the 12 through 16, they were awesome too. So it was tough. And I told people there wasn't going to be any upsets like that in this group. And then Kansas winds up losing to Arkansas, but that wasn't an upset. Arkansas was a top 10 team to start the season off. So them being an 8, it was simply because they had a bad season, but they were still a really good team. So pretty much Miami is in position to really shock the world, and nobody sees it coming. A lot of people are already giving UConn a national championship. UConn was a minus 110 going into right after they won. They were a minus 110 to win the tournament, right then and there on the spot. I caught them at 22-1, so that's different because I caught them at a number where nobody believed that they were going to do anything. Now people are all over UConn because the way they've dominated their games. And UConn can go ahead and wear this on their cap as well, too. They played 18 games this season. They've won 18 games by double digits. That's absolutely incredible. That is UCLA John Wooden work right there. So UConn got a lot working for them in their favor. But let me explain UConn's path to here. UConn probably had a path that you would say was hard, but it wasn't hard, okay? Because they had a lot of motivation because they had a 2-point loss in a tournament they should have won, and that was their Big East tournament. And they lost to Marquette of all teams. The team that won the championship and then the team that wound up losing still in the second round. Yeah, you know what I mean? So pretty much Marquette, They were a team that people were kind of high on as well too. So Iona looked like a team that could possibly upset UConn in the first round because Iona has Rick Pitino coaching them. And, Rick Pitino is good at getting small schools to play beyond their skill level. And it worked for the first half, and then they got absolutely crushed in the second half. They wound up getting outscored 40-23, losing that game by 24 points. So that was pretty much kind of a wake-up call right there that, UConn is a team that can turn it on at any point. Then they had St. Mary's, and everybody had St. Mary's beating UConn. I don't know why, but UConn went out there and absolutely wrecked them as well too. Then they go against Arkansas. I really feel like this is when things started getting easier for UConn. And think about it. You beat Iona, they're a Metro team. You beat St. Mary's, they're a West Coast Conference team. Then you play Arkansas, a middling SEC team that literally doesn't play any defense. So they went ahead and got absolutely crushed because they didn't play any defense to start that game off. They got crushed. There was nothing that they could do about it. But then everybody had this idea Gonzaga was going to go toe-to-toe with UConn. And it's like, no, bro, they're from the West Coast Conference. Who did they really play? And when they did play somebody, they got whooped. Yeah, they beat Alabama. Good for them. But at the end of the day, that doesn't measure up to where we're at right now. And UCLA should have won that game. UCLA literally, if you don't miss shots for 11 minutes straight, you win the game by 15. Let's keep it real. UCLA, if they just score points within that 11 minutes, they win the game. So they wound up losing the game because they couldn't score for 11 minutes. And then when they did go up, they got so excited that they forgot to play the right type of defense. Why aren't you pressuring? So there were a lot of mistakes made by UCLA at the end of that game. So what happens is Gonzaga moves on with this idea that they really are one of those teams. And UConn took advantage of a team that was absolutely dog tired in that spot and absolutely crushed them. And I told you guys the moment the game was over between UCLA and Gonzaga, that was cool that Gonzaga had a great little moment right there. But let's go ahead and UConn by 25, book it. And they said, Pop, no, it's going to be way better than that. And then everybody hit me up and was like, damn, you were right on the money about that. Yep, they beat them by 25 points. And then they had a bet in Vegas that said that because you know that you can put up a bigger spread and make more money. The spread that they had up there said if you could beat them by 25 points, it was a 3,000 to 1 ticket. So there you go. I gave you guys a 3,000 to 1 ticket. So pretty much I knew UConn was going to beat the brakes off this team because they literally were prepared for beating down teams like Gonzaga and St. Mary's because they haven't seen a team like UConn. UConn would have had issues with Kansas. UConn would have had issues with UCLA. But they're not going to have issues with these two because they're just not physical enough. So pretty much UConn really went ahead and stomped to the Final Four. And I think that's where everybody has this idea that they just can't be beat. But they're probably going to have their toughest game of the tournament on Saturday night. Let's just keep it real. And I look forward to it. And I think that this game will wind up being settled in the final 2 minutes. I don't think it's going to be like what I drew up for the first game, and they settle it within the final seconds of the game. They're going to settle this one within the final 2 minutes of the game. How about that? Or UConn just runs away with it. But if the game's close, then Miami is fair game. Let's just keep it real. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and take our first commercial break. And when I get back, we're going to jump into hold on. Well, when I get back, because I talked for a while, we're about to go to the 30-minute mark. When I get back, we're going to talk the Dodgers with the Blue Crew Daily. And then we're going to go ahead and jump into State of the Lakers. And then we got the NBA Friday night for you and Talkin Tickets. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper.
Now how you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, we are back with the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. So pretty much let's go ahead and jump into the Blue Crew Daily. And Blue Crew Daily, Dodgers win 8-2 to continue streak over the Diamondbacks. Tonight, Dustin May makes debut. All right, it's not his debut, but it's his 2023 debut, okay? And we know that we got a short sample size of him last year because, you know, he was pretty much coming back from the Tommy John surgery and everything like that. But now he's back. He's back, ready to go ahead and get himself back into the mix as the Dodgers' future arm. He's now second in the rotation as well, too. I think that's a little surprising because I would think that Clay Kershaw would still be the guy right behind Julio Urias, or you would put Thor up there or something like that. But maybe this is a smarter way of going about it by having your veterans and Thor and Clay actually be your third and fourth guy, because that fifth guy might be somebody that's in and out, because right now it's Ryan Pepio, but Michael Grove might be the guy in that spot. Or you might put Evan Phillips in that spot. You know, you never know. So pretty much I think that the Dodgers know that last year they had a lot of starting pitchers. This year they got more relievers. Okay, so I truly feel that the Dodgers know that they have something special with Dustin May, but is he going to return back to form from the injury? That's the biggest question. Now, last night with the Dodgers winning that game, the Dodgers were very, very on point. Let's just keep it real. They spotted them 2 runs last night. That didn't matter. It truly did not matter. They spotted them 2 runs, and they still went ahead and figured out a way to win the game 8-2. They literally 8-0 unanswered runs. There you go. Boom, wham, bam. Forget about it. So pretty much the Dodgers got a great effort last night from James Outman. I told you guys in the preview on Wednesday that James Outman was going to be a big-time player for the Dodgers, and he was going to be somebody that was going to be very legit and very needed to move forward to get this team right where they need to be at. Now it looks like they got a bit of an upgrade over Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger was a great glove, but his bat went south. It's that simple. And then, you know, they lost Gavin Lux as well, too. That's okay, because they got a great effort last night from the Miggies as well, too. So that worked out very well for the Dodgers. Rojas was able to get him a good double last night, and Will Smith was the man last night. Yeah, 4 RBIs. That was legit. That was what was up. And you know, you get a 3-run shot from Outman as well that blew the game wide open last night. And then Outman did score 3 runs last night as well, too. So that was huge. The Dodgers were just incredible last night. And you got really excited about the future of the Dodgers when it comes to their young players. You got Julio Urias, who's 38-10 in the last 2 years. And they keep, you know, acting like he's not good enough to get the Cy Young, but he is. So the Dodgers are really taking right off where they left off at, straight up. And I know that they got motivation from losing in the playoffs last year, but it's still early because let's keep it real. Last night, The Padres, the favorite to win the division, really, even though the Dodgers are still the favorite to win the division, but everybody's favorite is the Padres. They got cooked last night, 7-2. So it goes to show you that one team is reading the press clippings and another team knows how to win baseball games. It's a big difference. You know what I mean? They don't care about ESPN being in love with them. They don't care about MLB Network being in love with them. The Dodgers know what time it is. The Dodgers have to play the villain because the Dodgers have won so much that now you're public enemy number one. Nobody's going to be just gung-ho about the Dodgers winning the NL West anymore. When it was the Giants up, everybody was in love with the Giants. When it was the Diamondbacks' turn, everybody was in love with the Diamondbacks. When it was Colorado's turn, nobody cared because they knew that they were going to lose. So pretty much the Dodgers have just went ahead and just keep going about their business. And it's just that simple. Tonight, they have a tougher game, though. Merrill Kelly always pitches the Dodgers pretty well. And I think it's going to be a little bit of a different night tonight because it rained a little bit right before the game. Tonight, the weather should be good. There shouldn't be any rain, any issues that bother anybody. And I really, truly feel that tonight is one of those nights that you got to go ahead and think kind of smart and say to yourself that it might be quite possible that the Dodgers lose tonight because it's a Friday night. They got a pitcher that we're confident in, but we're unsure about. And he might need a game or two to get back into his rhythm. You know what I mean? And I think that this game will wind up being a low-scoring game tonight. And then it's really tricky. The Dodgers should win the game, could win the game tonight, but it's one of these games I feel is 50-50. Let's just keep it real. Merrill Kelly's very, very polished right now from pitching in the WBC against top-tier talent. He didn't have to pitch against a minor leaguer that's in single A. He really went about the gusto against some of the best players in the world. So the Dodgers tonight, let's not get too crazy with the Dodgers tonight. I think that it's a scoreboard play, and I like the under in this spot. And you'll see it on Talkin Tickets in a moment. So with that, Dodgers will be playing tonight about 7 o'clock at Chavez Ravine, and it's going to be Merrill Kelly and Dustin May going at it as well, too. And the Dodgers are 1-0 right now as we speak. So let's go ahead and move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into State of the Lakers. The Lakers looking good. The Lakers' biggest game of this 10-game stretch that they have right now. I said that the Lakers would need to go 7-3 to finish this out. They're 3-1 right now on this 10-game stretch. 6 games left to go. Actually won the last 4 out of 5 as well, too. They had won 3 in a row. Then they had a little loss to the Bulls. Hopefully, you wish they would have won that game because if the Lakers would have won that game, they would have been 39-37. They would have been right there in the 7-hole with no issues. Or they would have been able to possibly get the 6th seed if they would have lost to Houston. The Lakers really are their worst enemy. But now the clipping is starting to get a little crazy. Now it's starting to get a little crazy. Let's keep it real. Because now Sports Illustrated is saying the Lakers can win the championship. ESPN and their talking heads who love LeBron say that the Lakers can win the championship because the Lakers have figured out how to play defense consistently. The Lakers were already a good defensive team. They used to just have a lot of lapses. That's all it was. And if you look at all the Lakers' close wins and close losses, literally, if you take about 75% of their close losses and turn them into wins, the Lakers might have already been at 60 wins this year. That's how many games the Lakers have been in all season. No NBA team can really say that they've been in each and every game this year. The Lakers probably haven't been in about 5. And they're still 38-38. That's what's absolutely incredible to me at the end of the day. And when LeBron went out, they got better. Think about that part. LeBron was out a whole month. They got better. They're going to finish the month 10-5. possibly. They're 9-5 right now. I said they need to finish the month 10-5, and they need to finish the month 10-5. And the Lakers are doing everything that I exactly put out for them, and it's going according to plan. And as I said before, everybody that's following the Lakers right now, you only need to worry about these 10 games. And right now, the Lakers knocked out 4 of them. They're 3-1 in that process. The Lakers' goal is to finish 7-3. I still believe if they finish 7-3, that they'll pull out getting the 6th seed. I just feel like that's going to happen. And beating Minnesota will be huge tonight if they're able to do so. And then getting that Houston win will be big too. But their toughest games are going to come up in the next coming weeks because they have to play against Phoenix, a team that they have it that's tough for them. And then they also have to play the Clippers. That's going to be tough. And then they got – and these Utah games, they should be pretty easy. At first, you thought Utah was going to be more of a matchup because that's who they were going back and forth with. But Utah is literally out the playoffs. Their whole lineup is out now. So you don't have to worry about Utah because they're actually ahead of Utah now by 2 games. And being ahead 2 games with 6 games left to go, that is really like saying that you pretty much got this thing wrapped up. But I'm looking at this now. If the Lakers were 39-37, keep it real, the Lakers probably would be in the 6 hole right now. And if they would have won that other game, they could have been 40-36. That means they would have been in the 6 hole right behind the Clippers. So the Lakers are close. The Lakers are so close. They're only a game and a half out of the 6th seed. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. The Lakers, as I said before, this month, they're 9-5, and they're trying to get themselves this 10-5 because 10-5 was the goal. Let's keep it real. I'm not even in the Lakers locker room, and I know that was the goal this month. Let's go 10-5. And then when they got to these last 10, they said, let's go ahead and go 7-3. That's what we got to do. You know what I mean? And when you look at that, this portion of the schedule, the Lakers have just been one of the better teams in the NBA since they made that trade to bring in a whole new team. The Lakers have just been excellent. You know what I mean? The Lakers at the end of the day are 13-7 in those 20 games. It's a whole new ball club. It's a whole new wave. Now, Minnesota, tough team. Minnesota has Cat back. And, you know, they had a point in the month where they were struggling. They had lost 5 out of 6. Things weren't looking good. Then they won 4 in a row. And they won those 4 in a row against all playoff teams. They beat the Knicks, they beat Atlanta, and they beat Golden State at Golden State, and they beat Sacramento at Sacramento. Then they wound up losing to Phoenix. So they wound up having 4 out of 5 games on the road, and they won 4 out of 5 games. So that worked out pretty good for them because now they find themselves in the 7th seed. And their schedule kind of calls for them to finish up the season pretty good because they got the Lakers tonight. And their next toughest game after the Lakers is probably Brooklyn. They finish up the season with Portland, San Antonio, and then the last game is going to be against New Orleans. So, you know, Minnesota is up for it as well, too, and they only have 5 games left to go in the season. So they have lesser games than the Lakers do, but I think tonight this will probably figure out who's going to be the team that's going to be really that 7th seed tonight. In my opinion, I think the Lakers got a big shot at winning this game tonight, but they're going to have to be all in on this one, baby. All in. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our next subject in hand, and that's going to be for the NBA Friday night. NBA Friday night. NBA Friday night. It's Friday night. All right, so the NBA Friday night, we start off with the Thunder and the Pacers. If you ever hear somebody say Thunders, walk away from them because you just pronouncing stuff wrong. It's Thunder. It's just the Thunder. You know, it's not the Thunders. It's the Thunder. All right, then you got the Pacers, 33-44. Thunder sitting on the outside looking in. Pretty much they didn't want to be a part of the plan, but you know what? OKC doesn't care, bro. They got 4,500 first-round picks because the Clippers. And because of the Rockets, and because it's just the list just goes on and on. How many first round picks they just have gaffled up because they have talent. Okay, so pretty much We got the Thunder and the Pacers tonight. Pacers are struggling. Pacers are probably ready to throw in their white. They're probably throwing up the white flag right now as well too. They were in playoff position for a long time. Now they're the 12 seed. They're sitting 4 games outside of this situation. They only have so many games left to go in the season. They have 5 games left to go. So pretty much they're literally cooked almost out of this thing. And Halliburton's been hurt pretty much the last 2 months, but he tries to play. He's too much in and out of the lineup. So when you look at who they're playing against here in the last 5 games, Oklahoma City really needs to win this game to keep their playoff hopes alive. The Pacers really have nothing to lose. So these games are really, really tough to call. But I think with the Thunder knowing that they have to win this game, they're going to be all hands on deck here. So I like the -4 in this spot. Now the Pacers have been struggling this month, big time. This team is 5-10 this month. And, that's something that's kind of a surprise because you thought they could do a little bit better because they didn't have that tough of a schedule. But as I said before, Halliburton hasn't really been in the lineup. Now, the Thunder have had a real back and forth. This team at one point was the 7 seed. Then they were the 9, the 10, then they were out. And they just keep trying to, they really like a roach that won't go away. You thought this team was done in November. You thought they was done. And every time they go on a 3-game losing streak, you think it's over with. But then they pop back out and get a 4-game winning streak. This has been this team's whole season. They're 38-39 for a reason. So they got a 1-point win over Detroit. But I'm still thankful for what happened Tuesday because me and my clients cashed that plus 305 out because we caught them slipping. So they're trying to finish these last 5 games, in definitive fashion. But they got tough games, man. Phoenix, Golden State, and Memphis here in their final 4. So it's going to be tough here in their final 5 games. You know what I mean? So Indiana's a winnable one, and Utah is a winnable one. They could go 2-3 in this group, but this game is a must-win situation. So every time it seems like OKC's in a must-win situation against a team that they can beat, they win the game. So I like them with the -4. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right. We got the Bulls and the Hornets. I know I'm catching you guys off guard, but let's keep it real. Hornets playing some good basketball right now. Hornets coming into this one, winners of their last 3 in a row, and one was as a +12, the other one was as a +10, and the other one was as a +10. And they won all these games. One of the games they were 8-1, another game they were 6-1, and in our game they were 3-1. So tonight they look to go ahead and get the superfecta. They already got the trifecta. They're looking to get 4 in a row. So tonight they're actually +375, but we don't want to get too silly. Bulls have lost their last 3 out of 5. Okay, but that was against the Clippers and the Lakers, 2 teams that are vying for the playoffs right now. And the Bulls are in the playoffs as well too. So there's not really a big urgency. But tonight is a game that they really do need to get, but they may be putting too much pressure on themselves. You know what I mean? And I think the Hornets are taking full advantage of that with teams as well, too. Now, they finish up their final 5 games with Memphis, Atlanta, Milwaukee, Dallas, and Detroit. Chicago is a team that's really trying to put themselves back in position to be in the playoffs, but they will be in a play-in situation. So they have to go ahead and try to finish these games out strong. And I look at them and I say to myself, the Bulls can do that. And the Bulls really are 2 games ahead of Indiana right now. So this is kind of a must-win spot. But you know how it goes. These games get much, much tougher at this time of the year because you got guys want to hit their incentives and you got guys that don't like other players and they just want to beat them. You know what I mean? Let's keep it real. But the Bulls come into this one for this month, as I said, they were playing really good basketball. Then they ran into the LA teams and pretty much lost the last 2 in a row. Now, they've won 8 games this month, and they've wound up losing 6. So, finishing 96 will be really good for this team. Now, as I said before with the Hornets have won their last 3 in a row, and this might be one of the Hornets' better months of the season. They're actually right now 6-8. and they've won their last 4 out of 5. So this team is actually a team that is on the up and up at the end point of the season. And they don't have anything to lose. They're going against teams that are now playing for playoff seed. And it seems like everybody's playing Houston here in the final few games as well, too. So they got Houston and Toronto twice, and then they got Cleveland. All these teams are vying for the playoffs except for Houston. So they got kind of 5 important games, or 5 games that, they can really mess some things up in. Tonight, I feel like they're going to make the Bulls really work for this game tonight. And I got the plus 10.5 on the Hornets tonight. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, we got the Knicks and the Cavs, and I feel like I've reviewed this game like 4,500 times this year because they seem to always play each other at some point in time this year. But I know that I've covered pretty much the NBA every single day all year. So pretty much I know I've had this matchup here about 2 or 3 times. So this will be their final matchup of the season. The Knicks actually are the Hornets are actually the Knicks actually trail this one. The Cavs are up 2-1 in this series. And I feel like the Knicks, they're 8-6 this month. They've won their last 2 in a row. The Knicks have been weird. The Knicks win 3 in a row, lose 3 in a row. Won 3 in a row, lose 3 in a row. Then win 2 in a row. That's been their whole month. So it's either consistent losing or consistent winning. They don't have Julius Randle in the lineup tonight, so that's going to be a little sketch as well too. But I think, though, at the end of the day, the Knicks really want this game badly, and they seem to play better basketball sometimes when they don't have Julius Randle because other guys can actually score, and then they play smart basketball as well too. But the Knicks feeling good about themselves. They're the 5 seed right now. The Knicks haven't been a 5 seed in forever. And literally, this is crazy. Like, the Knicks are really in the playoffs, and everybody's kind of excited about it. But they're going against the Cavs team. Cavs are pretty much already running away with this thing when it comes to solidifying that 4 seed. But it looks like New York's going to solidify that 5th seed. So they're going to be meeting in the playoffs. But New York is on the cusp of clinching a playoff spot. So they need this win a lot more than the Cavs do. Yeah, the Cavs are vying for the 3rd seed, but they're 2.5 games out. Okay. And I think that they're more about making sure they're healthy getting into the playoffs. And the Knicks want to go ahead and get just lock down this playoff spot. So I like the Knicks tonight with the plus 145. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right. And we move forward. And the Cavs, pretty good this month. They had won 4 in a row. Then they lost their last game to Atlanta by 2. So this month, they're actually 8-4 to be exact. Yep, they're 9-4 to be exact. Sorry about that. And they got 5 more games. They got 5 more games left to go in the season. Pretty easy wins as well, too, after New York. All right, so we have Brooklyn and Atlanta. You have Atlanta, who's in the 8 hole, and you got Brooklyn, who's in the 6 hole. Brooklyn, that would be absolutely tremendous if Jock was able to keep them in the top 6 to where they don't have to play in a play-in. I think it's much deserved as well, too, because all the turmoil this team had to go through this year. You have the Hawks trying to stay afloat. They're actually 3 games behind Brooklyn right now, and they find themselves a game and a half behind Miami at this point as well, too. So they still vying for the Southeast Championship. That's still something they can hang on their cap. But all in all, Atlanta tonight, they know this is a must-win situation. But it's a must-win situation for the Nets as well, too. So this winds up being a really good game. Now, you have an Atlanta team that's coming into this month 7-7. And you have the Nets coming into this month on their side. They play good basketball this month as well, too. They had lost 5 in a row, but they won their last 2 out of 3, including beating Houston the other night. So this team is actually 7-8 this month. So they have some good things working out in their favor, and the Hawks have some good things working out in their favor. So tonight, I feel like we got ourselves a great matchup. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. but I do like the over because both these teams need to win tonight. So usually when that happens, teams are trying to score and score some more. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. And then we got the final game of the night, the Nuggets and the Suns. There's not much to talk about here because both these teams pretty much are locked in for the playoffs at this point. But you also have to come to fruition that, Denver is more in rest mode right now than anything. So if Denver does get cooked, don't look at it as Denver getting really cooked. Denver is not worried about winning games. They've already established themselves as a playoff team this year. They've already won their division this year and literally only had to win probably about one more game to go ahead and lock down the home court advantage for the Western Conference. It's not a big deal right now. If you're going to lose at any point in time when you're a really good team, this is probably the best time so it can motivate you in the playoffs. So Denver, a team that struggled the other night. They lost by 19 in New Orleans. New Orleans desperate. They're not. Denver had won 4 in a row going into the game. It's funny. Denver is struggling so bad. No, they're not. They just it's the end of the season. And you're saying that they're struggling, and this team still won 7 games this month. And at the end of the day, they're still 7-6 this month. So they still have a winning record this month. So pretty much you have a game where I feel like we're going to go under here. It's going to be about defense in this spot. And you know that Phoenix has their group coming back. They have Durant coming back. They've won their last 3 in a row after losing 6 out of 7. And they are actually 8-6 this month. So they are looking good. They're trying to lock down that 4 seed as well, too. They're not going to catch Sacramento. So pretty much they're trying to hold off the Clippers as we speak. They're only a half game ahead of the Clippers. So this is going to be another really good game tonight. And it's very important for the Suns. But all in all, though, it's just a seeding game. And if Jokic is sitting down, all good. But this is a night where the bench guys can catch Phoenix slipping. So playing the spread is a little dangerous in my opinion. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But that's going to be the Nuggets and the Suns tonight. All right. Let's go ahead. We got Talkin Tickets. And Talkin Tickets tonight, we're going to be really quick here because I only got so much time. PrimeTime PK4, we got 20-1 with the Mets tonight, -1.5. We also have the over 8 with the Rockies and the Padres. We got the under 7.5 with the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers tonight. And then we have the Guardians money line +135. That is our MLB dog of the day. All right, we got the NBA Super High 5. We got the Thunder -4. We also have the Hornets with the +10.5. And then we have the Knicks tonight as our NBA dog of the day at +145. And then we have the over 240.5 with the Hawks and the Nets. And then we finish up with the under 227.5 with the Nuggets and the Suns. That's going to be a 32-1 ticket right there. So with that, that's going to be a wrap on today's show and this week's shows as well, too. Once again, as I always say, there is no me without you. And the movement is moving. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles with the one and only Pop DBacks, the PrimeTime Capper. And I'll be back at you Monday. And I'll be on early Monday. I'm trying to do the show about 10 a.m. Monday morning or 11, probably right after I do Jeff's show. I don't know if I'm doing Jeff's show Monday or Tuesday. But I'll be on very early come Monday because I just want to get Monday out the way. And we know that we're going to have a lot to talk about. So I'll be writing up the show on Sunday. So be ready. Be ready. You guys are the absolute best. And I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.